night, fueling the passion, igniting the light. Through highs and lows, we'll stand as one. A legacy, a tale that's just begun. Together we roar, together we grow. The Detroit Lions will rise, with our hearts full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. So let's lift our voices, let's turn it up loud. For the love of the Lions, we'll always be proud.
All right, man. That song gets me so hype. You know, there used to be a day. Good morning. Welcome into the Rise and Grind Morning Show. I'm one of your hosts, Will Rock. Eric Rintamaki will be with us in just one moment. But there used to be a day where there was one theme song that hit the airwaves here on YouTube for your Detroit Lions. There was one theme song. And it was this one that I created. And since then, there's been a couple of... I guess we'll call them copiers, right? Because I did theme song, they did theme song, and yada, yada, yada. I just had to point that out, that I still think our theme song is the best theme song out there. How lucky I got with AI back in the day, taking my lyrics, the lyrics that I put into it, to create a song that sounds so realistic. I think it perfectly embodies what the Lions are all about. And it really does. And I forget how important it is to play these things and to keep it part of the channel. So had to bring it back in this morning. Have a loaded show for you guys this morning on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Tons of topics, man. The first question I'm going to have for everybody, like the thumbnail says, how the hell did this happen? And where is it going? And you have no clue what I'm talking about. But if you look at the thumbnail and you see who's on the images today, it's Ali McNeil, AQM, and Aiden Hutchinson. How did it happen? And no, I'm not just talking about the pass rush. I'm talking about something else that we've been monitoring now this whole season. We haven't done it in a couple of weeks, I think, because we had the bye week, and last week we missed it. But I'm talking about double and triple team rates for these guys. You're going to be blown away today. If you haven't taken a sneak peek at what's going on here for the defensive line, I think that you're going to be a little surprised at what you find out this morning about that. So that's one of the topics this morning that we're going to discuss. Also, some confirmed news. I did not get my video out today, but I have some confirmed news with Dan Campbell, and I'll be doing that shortly here in probably the next 30 minutes. I'm just going to do the video live with you guys, or I'm going to try. I usually don't do that a whole lot. I'm terrible at it, but I'm going to try. And try to pump it out. It'll just be a 5-minute update. So you guys will be hearing it, seeing it live for the first time if you haven't already. But I'll bring it in, and I guess you guys see kind of how I try to put my videos together live. I plan to do it more. I just have to get prepared, and I'm a little bit more prepared. Today, I went and had some injections yesterday in the back of my skull to hopefully help out with the headaches and the pain and everything else that I've been dealing with. And so I got steroids running through me right now, which is giving me a little bit more energy, which is good. It's going to be short-lived, but it's good. So I feel a little bit better. We're going to get rocking and rolling. It's been a good morning already. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Be right back here in 17 seconds with Eric Rintamaki and the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Appreciate you guys all joining. Good morning.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right, got things reorganized. Good morning, Eric, and welcome. It is Wild West Wednesdays. If you haven't figured it out, I'm the only one that doesn't have the real cowboy hat, but this dude does, Eric Rintamaki. So we're going to theme it up each and every day. We used to do some themes, and I tried to create themes a long time ago. I had someone trying to help me with all that. It all went to the wayside, and there's only so much I can do, right? There's only so much Eric can do. He's busy with his businesses. I'm busy with my stuff and my daily business stuff and this, and so there's only so much we can fit into the day. But I've been theming it up. We used to do hot takes on Tuesdays. We've kind of changed that to over-under reactions on Mondays and kind of got away from it. But we're going to get back into a couple of themes, at least daily, for at least one segment, so that we have a bona fide segment every day that will be the same. And then we have multiple other segments that are the same that we do cover, as our sheet is organized that way. But of course, you've got a lot of Detroit Lions news and rumors that hit daily. It's been kind of light over the last couple of weeks, not a ton happening. The biggest thing, Eric, right now is Dan Campbell. We'll talk about that in a few moments. I don't want to give any of that away at all, period, until I do my video. The thing that I want to ask from you this morning, man, is how the hell are you?
Really good, but I could be better.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Michigan's stupid. All these clouds. The best light storm ever, and we have clouds everywhere.
It seems like that always happens every year. Like,
yeah,
you know, they say it's going to be the best, and
well, this one was I have friends in New England. I have a friend in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, almost to the freaking Mexican border. He saw him last night. You want to know what I saw? A bunch of clouds, and it sucked.
Hey, man, listen, it's that season, so I'll just give out the PSA that maybe, you know, people don't know, or maybe they need to hear, and I'm not a doctor, so make sure you call your own. But SAD is a legit thing for a lot of people. Suffer with SAD, seasonal affective disorder, or seasonal affective disorder, something like that, whatever it is.
I got it. I got a bad case.
It starts with the clouds, man, and the darkness of the time change. And there was like this big thing that came out the other day, a week or so ago, you know, when the time change happened. It screwed me up for a few days. Ed hasn't done that in a while, but it did. It screwed me up because when you wake up at 5 a.m. every day, that things kind of change in a hurry. I slept in for once till 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, that was weird. That really screwed me up. But anyway, vitamin D, man. Make sure you get a little bit of extra vitamin D, a little extra vitamin C to help carry the vitamin D. That's what I've been taught. I don't suffer from that, but I definitely know how important it is. And Megan, you know, she has all these things that she does, online businesses and stuff too, as well as a nurse. And she got this light in one of her packages that she buys. It's a legit light that sits in front of you that gives you the right light, I guess, in the wintertime or indoors. If you're indoors a lot, if you work in an office a lot, you don't see the sun, you don't get outside and enjoy the sunshine at all. You should in the summer, at least for an hour. That stuff kind of adds up. So, but right now, man, you can't be sad because the Lions are 6-3, number one in the NFC North. Eric, I mean, there's nothing to be sad about.
Ah, I love that.
Right? Nothing to be sad about.
Yeah. I was so happy. Listen, on Monday or Tuesday, when I woke up and the Lions were back in first, the Packers were down to third, and we have a chance to go in and play the Eagles. And if we beat them, we have the tiebreaker over the Eagles, and the Eagles are the number one seed right now. So that would only move us closer to the top.
Yeah, I think we'll be there at some point. Yesterday, I was out shopping. I was at a Costco and picking up stopping at the pharmacy and grabbing a few things, right? And I'm all dressed up in my Lions gear like I normally am. You have a Lions coat on, Lions hat.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy comes out of nowhere, and he's like, you're a Lions fan. I'm just like, wait, this dude's going to be a Packer fan or some idiot, right? He's like, man, I didn't know we existed out in public, but I tell you what, I see more Lions fans now than I've ever seen before. And I used to just he was a little older. He's like, I used to just get razzed by the fellas all the time. And everyone always made fun of me and laughing at me. And I said, who's laughing now? I'm like, who's laughing now at the Lions fans? Like, we finally have something to be happy about. And they try. You know, they try to punch us in the face. I know that they're trying to spin this whole thing on St. Brown, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. And you know, we've done our own things, being labeled a dirty team and taking out players' knees, and attacking Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. I mean, you name it. Like they trying to cut the tree down, right? They chopping. And anytime you want to chop wood with the Lions, I'm going to tell you right now, we carry a bigger axe. And the Lions are going to continue doing what they're doing because they're built that way. They're built different. And if you haven't recognized by now, Dan Campbell might be one of the smartest coaches in the league. He might be the smartest coach in the league. Now, I've got to give Andy Reid his credit, right? I got to give a few coaches, and I mean, Sean McVay's a smart dude too. But I think when you look at a guy, Dan Campbell, that has totally resurrected a franchise after, 30 plus years of futility, 60 plus years of being destitute. He's done it in his own way, but he did it by playing football. He did it by being aggressive. He did it by, implementing all of the things that we kind of got away from. And they play the game of football the right way. It's their brand of football, but I believe it's a brand of football that is spreading again through the NFL like wildfire. And being aggressive is his mantra, man. Guy takes over play calling. And I'm not rolling into that just yet, but he takes over play calling, known as a meathead to enter the league as a head coach. People thought he wasn't a very bright guy. Do you remember what Brad Holmes said many years ago? Oh, actually many, but it was like three seasons ago. They said, I can't. He was talking about how smart Dan is. He's like, I should probably stop because I can't tell you the secret about Dan Campbell and how smart he is, how much of a, offensive genius this guy really is, how impressive of a coach he really is. And so he kind of stopped himself and he said, I want everybody to continue to think he's just a meathead. Just go ahead with that and see how that works on Sunday, right? So paraphrasing what Brad Holmes said a few seasons ago, he expected all this to happen. He knew it was going to happen. And the fact that these two guys were paired up, that's the genius of Sheila Hamp and Chris Spielman and Mike Disner and Rod Wood and everybody else that I'm going to forget to name drop. They've all done an excellent job at creating the right brand of football in Detroit. Detroit versus everybody will always live on forever in infamy. It will be there. That is something that will ride or die with us, I think, for generations. But now it's almost like Detroit versus Detroit. It's like, which team is going to be better than the next? And that's what I mean by that. Which team is better than the next? And I think this brand of defense that we have is definitely the best. You're going to hear from Alex Anzalone today, and he's going to say the same thing. He's going to tell you all about how he feels about Aiden Hutchinson and his massive contract, as well as how this defense is playing and what it means to be a captain. So that's on the list this morning. So make sure you stick around here on the Rise and Grind Morning Show, joined by Eric Rintamaki here as the co-host each and every day. Dan Campbell, man, on Costa and Stoney. You're going to hear something there. That's going to be part of the video today. Hank Fraley, I'm going to talk about Hank Fraley. Dropped an article last night on DetroitFootballJournal.com. That's www.DetroitFootballJournal.com. Check it out. He is my man. Scotty Montgomery's next. I'll be doing an article and a video on him next. Hank Fraley video comes out later today. Video on Jared Goff comes out today. And a video on Dan Campbell comes out today. Tim, 20-minute observations we didn't get into, but we will. Sam Laporta, is he in a slump or is it a scheme issue? We'll probably get a chance to touch on that. And we're also going to get into power rankings today. But Eric, why don't you kick us off, man, with a little bit of NFL news before we get deep off into the Lions. Give me a minute to kind of collect my thoughts. What happened with the former Packer, Jair Alexander?
Yeah, so Philadelphia Eagles cornerback Jair Alexander is stepping away from football to get right physically and mentally. NFL Network insider Mike Garafolo reported Tuesday the 28-year-old cornerback will then decide on his playing future after the break, per Garafolo. And then Packers have officially placed center
hold on one sec. Let's get into Jair for just a moment here. Okay. So Jair Alexander, he says he's going to step away. Now, this was reported yesterday by Dove Kleiman. Obviously, he got that through Jay Glazer. Did you read the Jay Glazer tweet by chance?
No, I just got it from Mike Garafolo, and he was Originally signed by the Ravens, then traded from the Ravens to the Eagles.
Well, he was originally signed by the Packers, right? And then traded to the Ravens, and then traded to the Eagles, and now he's stepping away. The thing that I wanted to mention that I thought was most important, maybe to touch on here for just a moment, is why. Like, we don't know the real reason why. I'm sorry, I missed what you said. So did you state any of the obvious yet?
It says that he wants to get right physically and mentally.
Yeah, and see, I was thinking that this was probably more of a mental state of mind thing for him, and if he was struggling from something, probably just going through a lot. These guys go through a ton as it is. My biggest concern, obviously with something like this, is any time that these players go through stuff, what happens? They get railroaded by their own fan base, and then they get made fun of, and that's just not a good place to be, right? That's not a good place to be mentally. It's not a good place to be physically. And look, I hope it doesn't happen for the guy. I mean, we can joke about the fact that, funny, haha, we don't have to deal with him anymore in Green Bay. But sometimes, man, football is a lot bigger than life. Actually, every time football's a lot bigger than, or life's a lot bigger than football, I should say. So I hope he's all right. And, maybe there's another opportunity for him in the future. But let's get into what was at least reported by Jay Glazer. It wasn't much. At least we'll throw it on the screen here. Let me get it up. Former Pro Bowl cornerback Jair Alexander has decided to step away from football to try to focus on getting himself right physically and mentally before deciding on his future. Alexander informed the Eagles of his decision today, which was yesterday. Again, hope he's good. Hope everything works out for him. He's not the only one that's had to go through this. You could kind of tell ever since he left the Packers, he wasn't the same player. I know we kind of made fun of him early in the season because he got traded and whatever, but I don't ever want to make light of somebody in their situation. I wish him the best. Obviously, he's going to figure out what's best for him, and that's the only thing that matters. But we won't have to worry about him now this weekend at all, which you could say that's a feather in our cap, but maybe it's not. You were going to go into Elgton Jenkins. Give us a Green Bay report real quick.
Yeah, so the Packers officially placed center Elgton Jenkins on injured reserve and signed linebacker Christian Welch from their practice squad to their active roster. And now I have a little bit of NFL news that I just dug up. Something came up on my phone. And get this affects the Packers as well. The Giants are set to start Jameis Winston versus the Packers. The New York Giants are expected to start quarterback Jameis Winston against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Giants are turning to Winston after Russell Wilson took over for Jackson Dart, and Dart suffered a concussion during Sunday's loss to the Chicago Bears. Winston will be playing in his first game since Week 15 of last season for the Cleveland Browns. That sounds like some good news for the Giants, bad news for the Packers.
We can't see your eyes in those glasses, man. It's kind of we got to get that camera lower or something.
Yeah.
All we see is the tip of your brows. Yeah, that's interesting. So does Jameis Winston give them a better opportunity or not?
I think he does, because when Russell Wilson went in last week during the Bears game, I got to see a little bit of that, and he was just inept. There was people.
Jameis Winston?
No,
Jameis Winston?
No, when Russell Wilson went in last week, because Jackson Dart went down in the fourth quarter, and Wilson had to go in for him. Well, Wilson was the day one starter for the Giants this year, and he did so bad through 3 or 4 games. Then they switched over to the rookie. The rookie's been having this great season. And then, of course, he gets injured, and they switch back to Wilson. And I don't know why they didn't go to Jameis Winston. I think he would have provided the spark that maybe won that game. And that might be why Brian Daboll is gone, is because he refused to go to Jameis Winston. And listen, I think this gives them quite the perk this week to go up against the Packers, because when when Winston went, or not Winston, when Russell Wilson went in last week, he was horrible. A high school, I mean, me with my broken shoulder right now, I could have went in and did a better job. He was horrible, 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 horrible. And every major sportscaster online was ripping them for putting Wilson in instead of putting Jameis Winston in. Yeah, man, their names are so similar. It's hard to separate them.
It definitely, they deserve an opportunity, I think. I mean, you've seen what you've seen out of Wilson. Your season is cashed. It's done. You might as well go to another vet that, look, he's always brought an energy with him. I think that he's played well in times and he hasn't played well at times, but there's one thing about Jameis Winston that it will always reign true, and that's he brings a different energy to this team. Maybe he'll be eating W's on Sunday against the Packers. I mean, I hope he is. What I don't like about this is, the Giants, where I thought maybe they had an opportunity to beat the Packers a few weeks ago, that thought's quickly fading. I don't think that's going to happen, and that's not going to help us out at all, which means we have to beat New York no matter what. And look, I don't think that should be a problem, but then again, you can't ever count an NFL team out. We've seen that too many times where it's kind of blown up in our face.
Yeah. All right. And then moving on, free agent cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. is signing with the Steelers practice squad, even though there were a plenty of teams that wanted his services. A top 25 free agent in March, Samuel recovered from spinal fusion surgery in time to sign for the season's second half. Now he gets a new start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then Buccaneers running back Josh Williams is suspended for the next 6 games without pay for violating the NFL's performance enhancing substance policy. Williams will be eligible for reinstatement on Tuesday, December 22nd, following the Buccaneers' Week 16 game against the Carolina Panthers. Now, Jaguars rookie receiver, number 1 overall cornerback Travis Hunter will miss the remainder of the season after undergoing surgery on his right knee, the team announced. Hunter had the lateral collateral ligament repaired in Dallas by Dr. Dan Cooper and Dr. Kevin Kaplan, who is the Jaguars' head team physician. There was no additional damage to the knee, the team announced, and Hunter is expected to return to full football activities within 6 months. And then perhaps the biggest story yesterday in the NFL this week was the return of Joe Burrow to the practice field for the Cincinnati Bengals. He is a complete psycho competitor, so I wouldn't rule him out when it comes to anything, said Albert Breer. While nothing that the Bengals essentially have a 3-week plan to get Burrow back into game action. And here's a quote. My understanding is that they're going to do with him this week is they're going to have him basically in 7-on-7 work while they manage Joe Flacco's shoulder injury. He's going to be seeing some action there, and they'll ramp him up, Breer said. The idea, I think, is to see where you're at their next 3 games. It's wonky because they play on Thanksgiving night, so they have the Steelers this week, the Patriots next week, and then they have a short week to play the Ravens. And that's around the league in a whole more than 60 seconds.
Oh, that's all right, man. 60 seconds is just a phrase, right?
Yep.
All right. We'll be back here in just a few more minutes or a few seconds. I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We're going to jump into some Detroit Lions stuff. Got a couple more things to touch on here for the NFL, but quick break. Be right back.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right, sorry about that. I had to blow my nose, man. The next thing up on today's schedule, at least for NFL news, like we don't have a ton. I mean, there's a little bit here we're going to get into full NFL news, like the double chip team report, the lockdown report, wide receiver separation report, all that stuff. This one I'm going to do right now is because it's on the thumb, and I think it's very important to kind of touch on some of these things early in the show. And if I were to tell you that I am extremely surprised that this is happening right now, and what I'm referring to is the double team, the chip rates, the triple team rates. Eric, what is one of the biggest things that we hear from fans about Aiden Hutchinson? And
that it's getting doubled and triple teamed on every play, and somebody's chipping him on every play.
Right. So you got to mute that stuff, man. It's loud.
Oh, sorry.
You're exactly right. So we constantly hear we need another guy on the other side of Aiden. I don't like beating this to death, but if people are going to continue to talk about it from the perspective of maybe not having an understanding of what's really happening, and I think that's the difference between a casual fan, which we're all casual fans, and then there's the fan that will actually go in and look at a few stats, and then there's people like myself that take it a lot deeper, study the things, and try to give you a little bit more information to hopefully have it make a little bit of sense. It's not to drive a narrative. It's really to kind of clear the air. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because I just got it in numerous messages yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that no matter what video I do, it seems like I get 4 or 5 people that jump in there and will always say, we're never going to win a Super Bowl until we get another edge on the opposite of Aiden. We're never going to win. We're never going to win. We're never going to win. Brad Holmes sucks. Brad Holmes, a Dollar General. Brad this and Save a Lot that, and Aldi special this and blue Kmart special that. And it's like, it gets old. And it gets old because it's uneducated. Okay? Let me say it again for the people in the back. It is uneducated to think that way if you're not going to take a moment and to look at what the reality is. The reality is we have one of the best defenses in the league. Eric, if you wouldn't mind, while I'm going through this, make sure you pull up the Fox Sports defense, report, so that I can kind of shoot things back to you.
Already had it.
Perfect. So one of the best defenses we have in the league, one of the best defenses we've had in the last 30 years. And I'm not surprised by the fact that this is happening this season, even though that we've already gone through a gauntlet of injuries, the Legion of Whom for a couple of games, big-time players in and out of the lineup. How are we able to do it year in and year out? It's a testament to the coaches. It's a testament to Dan Campbell. It's a testament to Kelvin Shepard, obviously, calling a different style of a game and being overly prepared. Have we had a couple of disastrous games? Yes, we have. Have they really been disastrous on the defensive side of the football? I wouldn't say disastrous, but I would say anytime you let up more than 20 points, that's not what this team wants to do. Thankfully, they've only let up 27 points once, 22 points once, and what was the other one?
24
points. So it's not a huge amount of numbers, right? That I'm good with that. We haven't let up 30 points this season. Don't expect to either. And the fact that we're able to do that with the players that we have had out, again, it's a testament to Kelvin Shepard and being overly prepared. Casey Rogers, I have not given enough credit to. I said a couple weeks ago that I liked what Terrell Williams was doing a lot better, and you should have too. If you care more about the defensive line getting more pressure or getting after the quarterback from the outside, that's what Terrell Williams' design was for the defensive line, and that's what AG's plan was for the defensive line. What I noticed the first day of camp, you've heard me say this a few times, it was going to be the linebackers. We are seeing more now that our edge are dropping back into flats coverage, or they're holding tight in containment. We're using a spy, which, by the way, you're going to hear Alex Anzalone confirm once again that we ran a spy against Mariota, exactly what I thought was going to happen in the keys to the game that I put out prior to the game. It's in there. But having him confirm that validates everything that Eric and I have been trying to discuss and dispel all of these rumors about this defense, and it's called scheme. If you don't understand scheme, that's okay. I don't understand it all. There's so much I don't understand. There's a lot that I have yet to learn. But there's a few things that I know very well. And this happens to be one of them. Very simple, very, very simple math problem here with the scheme of the 4-3 defense or the nickel defense and what you're doing to take, leverage against an offense and how you're taking this guy away and using this guy to do that, vice versa, right? Both sides are trying to do that. The Lions utilized another spy against Mariota, and it worked. Yeah, did we give up 97 yards of rushing? Yes. Is that about 30 more than we should have? Probably. Did we give up about 20, 22 to Mariota? I think that was the number. Again, that's too many. But it's not 100 yards to Justin Fields. It's not 140 yards to Justin Fields. It's not 180 yards or whatever to Jalen Hurts, and it won't be this weekend because we're playing in a scheme that accentuates the linebackers, utilizes the edge as leverage, not just to get after the quarterback. And so you see right now where your top sack leaders in the league, specifically for the Detroit Lions, Aiden has 7, Al-Qadim Muhammad has 6. And we'll get into the linebacker stats in just a moment. But this is what I wanted to share. Let me see if I can throw this up on the screen real quick. This is the one thing I did not have dialed up. But Eric, while I'm pulling this in, could you walk us through where we are in total defense right now?
Yeah, so right now the Lions are number 7. That's a top 10 defense in total defense.
So we moved up one spot from last week.
Yeah, so we are number 7 we're letting up 294 yards per game, and we've given up 25 touchdowns this year. Now, the next team that's given up 25 touchdowns is all the way down at 15, and that's the Raiders, and they're giving up 320.8 yards per game.
How many yards a game are we giving up? Like 292?
Let's see. 294.
That was close. And then where we are in passing defense.
So passing defense, we're down just a little bit. We are number 12, 199.7, and we've given up 18 touchdowns through the air.
So do me a favor, just for grins and giggles here.
Yeah.
We're number 12 with about 190. Would you say 192?
Yeah.
What does number 5 have?
Or 199.
199. What is number 5?
5 has 174.2.
Go 5 up from us. What does number 7 have?
Number 7 is 187.2.
Okay, so we have roughly 5-6 yards separating us from the top 7 defense in passing.
Exactly.
And about 10 yards separating us from a top 5 defense in passing.
Yep.
I'm okay with that. You're talking one pass, one
game.
play per game that puts us into a top 5 defense in passing. Okay, how about rushing against? Now this is where we could be doing better here, but we're doing okay.
Yeah, rushing, this is kind of surprising. We are number 8 right now. We're giving up 94.3 yards per game, which isn't too bad. I mean, that's under 100 yards a game, and we've given up only 7 rushing touchdowns this year.
Did you say 99 yards? I don't have it in front of me.
94.3.
And we're ranked where? Top 12?
Number 8.
Number 8. So look at that. So what's separating us from a top 5 defense in rushing? How many yards?
So the 3 yards.
3 yards.
Less than 3 yards. So like about 2.5 yards per game.
One run, half a run, one run, right? Depending on where we are yardage wise, 3.3.
One play. Yeah.
3.4, 4 yards a carry, whatever we're averaging. I think it's under 4. I think it's 3.6 or 3.5, something like that.
One play a game.
So what I'm hearing is we basically have a top 5 defense in those 3 metrics. If you really look at it, one play away from being a top 5 defense in the 3 metrics that really matter. So to me, we're doing just fine. And my call from spring or from training camp was spot on. And we're doing it without Davenport. We're doing it without DJ Reed. We're doing it without Josh Paschal. We did it without Aleem McNeil. Now those guys are getting back. Aleem has been back for a couple of games. Davenport will be back in about 4 weeks. Rumor is clock starts next week on Davenport, by the way. That's the rumor. Inside rumor. I was going to share it in a video, but whatever. Someone will now do a video about it, I'm sure. Let me tell you what's going on with this defense that has me surprised. And now we need to have the conversation, okay? We need to have the conversation about what we're seeing and what's actually happening on the field. This is your regular season to date. Pass rush snaps had to be a minimum of 64 to be on this list, but this is the PFF chip and double team rates rankings for the entire league. Okay, who used to be up here at 1 and 2? Aiden Hutchinson and DJ Reader.
Yeah.
He used to be up here. He's been off this list, way far down this list for quite a while. And this is what bothers me when I hear we need a better. Okay, well, let's look at what Lions made this list. Number 5, DJ Reader. Oh, number 5, DJ Reader. He is triple teamed we're going to round up 4.5% of the time. He's double teamed 73% of the time at 72.61. And he's chipped 1.27% of the time, which means he actually has to make it, either through the backfield or, guard, tackle, centers kind of switching off on him. 157 pass rush attempts for DJ Reader, and he is the most doubled guy on our squad at top 5. No Aiden. Nope, look at this. How did this happen? Lee McNeil, who's been back for 2 games, has been tripled 14.13% of the time, doubled 68.48% of the time, ahead of Aiden Hutchinson. Our top 2 interior defensive linemen are top 10 on this list. That's not a good top 10, but that tells you why or how important it is to have an interior pass rush, have an interior, play to the quarterback that I've been trying to get you guys to understand for 3 seasons now, that this is the most important part to your game. If you look at the rest of the guys on this list, do you see any edge rushers in the top?
Yeah, and the 2 that are missing that I'm not seeing on this list anywhere.
You'll see it. I'll show you where Aiden is in a minute.
Well, not just Aiden. I'm talking about the guy for the Green Bay Packers. That's all I hear from Packer fans.
Oh, Parsons?
There's Parsons.
Yeah, he was on the list. He's on here somewhere. But anyway, just look at who's getting doubled, right? Jordan Davis, Kobe Turner, which Kobe Turner is inside-outside edge defensive line. Kenny Clark, inside-out defensive lineman. Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, defensive end. They play kind of both. Andrew Billings, PJ Mustafer, right? You got to have enough pass rushes to be on this list. He barely qualifies with 71. So I kind of look at the players that have 150 or more, or at least 120 or more, somewhere in that range, because it's a broader scope to look at. So your question is probably, where the hell's Aiden? Right? Where's Aiden? Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think that AQM is doubled more than Aiden, or vice versa?
Probably pretty similar.
You cheat because you look at the list. Let me ask.
I don't know where they're at. I can't find them.
I'm just having fun. I'm gonna throw it out there to everybody that's watching. Who do you think is doubled more? Because
just on Al-Qadim.
Yeah, so if you think that we need another edge defender because Aiden's getting all these doubles and triples, that would mean that he would be getting doubled more than AQM, right? Or tripled more than AQM. They're literally 1 sack separate from each other. And get this, AQM didn't start until week 3. So Aiden has a 2-week lead on AQM. Imagine if Al-Qadim Muhammad was in for the first 2 weeks. And be that as it may, AQM didn't even hardly play for 1.5, 2 games in this first 10 weeks. Outside of week 1 and 2. I'll have to get the snap load up, but we're gonna go all the way down. We're gonna go all the way down. Hold on. We're gonna go all the way down here. Where is Aiden? Oh, wait, there's AQM. 47.95% of the time he's double teamed. Let me highlight it. Oh, I don't see it on the screen. There it is. 47.95% of the time. 5.85% of the time he's tripled. 8.19% of the time he's chipped. Let me say that one more time for all the people in the back. AQM is chipped about 8% of his plays. He has doubled about 48% of his plays, and he has tripled about 6% of the time of that he's on playing defense. Aiden Hutchinson is all the way down here. Let me highlight him. He's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spots below AQM. He has tripled 7.17% of the time. He has doubled under 45% of the time. And he has chipped, this is the big number, 26% of the time. Now, I have said a couple of things about Aiden, and they are absolutely true. The dude does have short arms. I get it. He got a bag. The Lions love him. There's more to Aiden than just his play on the field. Yes, it's his work ethic. Yes, it's his motor. Yes, it's his leadership. Yes, it's what he brings to, on the daily to this defense. He embodies everything that the Detroit Lions are, the culture, the grit, the energy, everything, right? But there's one glaring thing that I will never get over, and that is his arm length. The reason why he is having trouble beating a chip, beating a double team, is because when they lock in the tackle or the guard, or even a tight end at times, he can't get off unless he does a spin move. And when he does that spin move, he's spinning himself right out of the play. 50% of the time is a guess, but he is spinning himself out of the play quite a bit. He takes a wide arc, and oftentimes that does leave a wider gap. To Aiden's credit, he is playing in a little bit more contained this year. So when you are getting chipped or you are getting double teamed, it's okay because he's not trying to get after the quarterback on that play specifically. He's trying to shut down the run, make sure the quarterback doesn't get past him, and just kind of close and seal off that edge. But the bigger point for me in all this, and I'll jump out of this real quick. The bigger point for me in this is I am so freaking sick of hearing that Aiden needs another partner on the other side because Aiden's getting double teamed all the time. Aiden should absolutely be able to beat a chip at $180 million. Right? Who's chipping him? A running back? A tight end? What I really want to do is I want to know how many times those chips are anything but another guard, another offensive lineman. I'll put a number out there. Just based on how much tape I've watched of Aiden. And we are going to do tape review tonight. And that'll be gripes and hype and tape review at the same time. I'm going to throw a number out there. I'm going to say that probably 80% of the time it's another tight end or a running back. And 20% of the time they're dropping a guard. They're not really combo blocking Aiden a ton. They're hardly double teaming him, less than 50%. He was up in that 60, 70% range. The other thing is you have to trust PFF and that their numbers are right. But what I can tell you is I've gone through this, and you are, as my witness, have done it with me, and I've sent people the tape on this. There was games that PFF was saying that he was double teamed like 70, 80% of the time, and he wasn't double teamed but maybe twice. And that's on 50, 60 plays. That's 20, 30 pass rush attempts in a game, and they're saying it's 70% of the time. Those numbers don't jive. And so I don't trust PFF as far as I can throw them, but their numbers aren't that far off. I mean, they can't be, right? Their grades are terrible. Those are far off. But these numbers have to be fairly close. But we'll be the judge, jury, and executioner when we go through the tape and see if any of this even lines up. So I'm going to do it game by game and see what they're saying game by game. So, Eric, for you, what does this say for you? I mean, as a fan, hearing it all the time, again, not trying to cause trouble, not trying to, cause it, or start a narrative, not saying Aiden's a bad football player. I'm just saying that the rumors are false. The narratives are trash. Aiden is not getting double teamed enough to where he can't beat these guys and can't get to the quarterback. It's scheme, number one, and AQM is doing just as good, and he's getting doubled more. So I rest my case based on PFF stats so far today. I'll live to fight another day on this, I'm sure. But the one glaring number is the 8.9% that AQM is only getting chipped, that amount. If I were to compare this, and then I'll kick it to you. If I were to compare this to some other players, Princely Umanamian, he's chipped 20.2%. Will Anderson Jr.'s chipped 25%. Let's see. I got to bring my pup out too. Who else has chipped that high? It's really not a whole lot of players. Micah Parsons is chipped at 20.82%. He's also doubled about 60%, tripled 11%. Much bigger numbers than Aiden outside of the chips. Myles Garrett, 25%, he's chipped. 59%, he's doubled. And 6.3%, he's tripled. Go look at his stats. Eric, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, so I don't think that there's a I don't know. With Aiden Hutchinson, this is the thing. I go watch him live in person, and I watch him when he's one-on-one with just a guard or a tackle. And there's a lot of times he's not getting to the quarterback. He's getting close, but he's getting a lot of pressures. So I'm pretty sure he leads in pressures right now. And all I know is that PFF needs to give Will a job so he can do the grading right. We need to get Will a job at PFF. So while Will's away, maybe I will go through the NFC North report for today. So I'm going to start with the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, the Vikings, honestly, I didn't know that the Vikings had an offensive coordinator. I thought that Kevin O'Connell called the plays. Are you guys in the same boat as me? Did you think that it was Kevin O'Connell calling the plays? Well, apparently it's not. 8 false starts for the Vikings offensive coordinator Wes Phillips is how he began his press conference by immediately addressing the offense's 8 false starts, calling them embarrassing and losing football. Veteran captains, well, they're struggling. 3 of the 8 false starts were committed by veteran captain Brian O'Neill. Phillips stated that tweaks will be made to fix the operational issues, though he did not confirm personnel changes. Well, one thing is when you have 8 false start penalties on your offense at home, that's a big deal. I've never heard of a team having 8 false starts in their own building at home.
Are we already off the edge talk?
Yeah, I was just going through the NFC North quick while you were away.
Gotcha.
I told everybody that you need to get a job at PFF. They need to hire you instead of these people that have no clue about football and somebody just straight off the street.
Well, that is valid. That is not that I want to work there. I don't know. It's not for me, but it is a valid point. We went through this a few weeks ago where they legit hire 18-year-olds, haven't even been through college, have never played the game, have no real experience. They're watching the game film and recording stats. They're not watching, or they're watching the game while you're recording stats, not the film, not the all 22 or the NFL's version of all 22, which we will never get. But anyway, yeah, that is a very valid fact that you got people, 600 employees, 3% of them are allowed to record stats, and 1% or 3 guys or 3 people. I don't know if it's a woman in there or not. 3 guys, we'll just say, out of that 60 are allowed to finalize the stats. So I'm not going to say that PFF is 100% wrong, because they're not. A lot of these things are fairly accurate. But the most glaring thing is, like I've read in the chat, the Aiden, shouldn't have paid Aiden if he's trash. I'm not saying he's trash. What I'm saying is these numbers are too glaring for him not to have better performances, or, maybe playing 90% of the snaps. You heard Calvin, he can't get him off the field. And so if Aiden wants to have better performance, then at some point he's going to have to realize, I need to stay out of the game 1 series a game, or an equal amount of snaps to equal the series. I'd rather see his legs fresh in the 4th quarter. God forbid we got to go to an overtime. But yeah, that's a problem too. At some point, all of these snaps that he's playing, they're going to catch up to him. He's entering, year 5 next year? He's getting older, right? Guys don't typically last this long. But especially on the edge where you're going up against guys left and right, you're getting chipped all the time. You are getting doubled about half your snaps on pass rush snaps. I'm going to clarify that. Pass rush snaps. It's not every snap. Pass rush snaps. So that's another thing you have to take into consideration. Out of 60 plays a game that Aiden plays, let's just say half of them, which is pretty close, are pass rush snaps. Pass rush is typically considered a drop back. So you have to go by how many dropbacks did a quarterback have. So if there was 30 attempts by a quarterback and they had 65 plays, quick numbers, say 47% of the snaps were pass rush eligible. Well, that means that Aiden was double teamed on roughly 47% of those snaps at 48%. So he was double teamed what?
A quarter.
15, 17 snaps a game. That's it. And then out of those snaps, he was chipped 25% or 26% of the time. That's like 5, right? 5 or 6 snaps. So there's a whole other 40 snaps that he's not winning one-on-ones, and that is where my problem lies. It is not with the double teams. It is not with the chips. It is what is going on the one-on-ones. Why are we not winning there? That has always been my biggest hurdle with Aiden. I love the dude. I think he's a great football player. I think he's perfect for Detroit. I'm glad that he is signed. I just want to see him win more. And if it is an energy thing, if he's getting cashed out by the third quarter, man, Calvin, you just got to step up and say, dude, I need you in the fourth. Right? Just sit the hell down for a moment. Take a breath, go sip some oxygen, get some Gatorlight in you, and go at it in the fourth quarter. It's just what you got to do. Sometimes what's good for Aiden is better for the team. And Aiden needs to just relax a little bit, I think. And look, he's playing great football. He's just coming back from a crazy injury. He's doing great. We just need to see more. And the reason why I'm bringing all this up, again, is because the narrative, the issue with we need somebody else on the other side is not the case. If you had another Aiden on the other side right now, what would you have? Like, how much better could it really be? While you were, you said something about pressures, right? So,
doesn't Aiden lead the league in pressures?
Well, that's in the Fox Sports. Hold on. Fox Sports.
One thing is
stats.
with Aiden, I believe with Josh Paschal, and then you're going to have Davenport coming back. They're going to need some snaps, so that might take away some snaps from Hutch. Let's give him a breather now and then. Having those two guys in, give AQM a little breather. And then they can really get it on third down, on fourth down, on passing downs. When you know they have to pass, there's no way they're going to run the ball. Put those two dudes in, and on first and second down when there's a whole bunch of running going on, throw the other guys in. Davenport's great against the run.
Well, and that's a great point because Aiden is not great against the run.
Yep.
If someone is to defend Aiden against the run, you're not watching enough football. His numbers, his missed tackle rates against the run are not great. He's a much better pass rusher than he is a run defender. He takes bad angles. He'll charge in off the edge, off the wide 9. He loses where the ball is. I could point to dozens of plays where this happens. And he's too fixated on getting after the quarterback. He follows the quarterback. The ball's going right off his edge, right through his gap. And that's got to stop. So yeah, to your point, okay, maybe Aiden's in on first down. Maybe you rotate somebody in on second down if it's going to be a run down or considered to be a run down. Maybe it's a second and short. You put someone in that's better against the run. I'd rather see Davenport and Paschal in there on second down. Give Aiden AQM a break on second down. Bring in AQM and Aiden back in on third down. You gave him a break, and that's more likely to be a passing down if it's, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 or longer. So yeah, it's a great point. I'm not going to be able to pull up the pressure rates quick enough, I don't think. I did not have that pulled up. It's in my other sheet.
That's all right. But earlier in the year, I had talked about Kelvin Shepherd being better than Aaron Glenn, and I think it's becoming glaringly obvious that Kelvin Shepherd is willing to do things that Aaron Glenn would never do. You addressed that Anzalone said we were using a spy last week. I didn't even realize it. So I'm going to have to watch that game again. And what a perfect opportunity to get warmed up for a spy type defense for this weekend. Because if you don't pay attention to Hurts will hurt you.
1,000%. 1,000%. All right. So looking at total pressures, oh, come on. What is this? Edge position, 32 teams. That's the one thing I really dislike about PFF. Like, I have to put this down to 10%. I can't read it to figure out where the pressure stat is.
Yeah,
So PRP is the formula that combines sacks, hits, and hurries relative to how many times they rush the passer. So PRP should be pressures per game, which looks like he's averaging 10.7. Hold on. Where is he? I just had him up here. Al-Qadim Muhammad, 10.8. Defensive pressures. What's DRP? DRP, total pressures of the passer of any kind. All right, so Al-Qadim Muhammad has, according to PFF, 31 pressures on the season. Where's Aiden? He has to be towards the top. Yeah, Aiden has 57. Aiden has 57. Al-Qadim has 31. And if you look at the amount of snaps that he's had, big difference. 184 for Al-Qadim Muhammad, 310 for Aiden. The PRP number is identical. Al-Qadim Muhammad is averaging more pressures per game than Aiden. Al-Qadim Muhammad is averaging 10.8 pass rush pressures per game. Aiden 10.7. I think that further clarifies and validates the argument here that we don't need somebody else on the other side. If Al-Qadim Muhammad is averaging a better rate, right? That's like throwing more strikes, versus balls in a game as a pitcher. What's your percentage of strike to ball ratio? What's your WAR ratio? All that stuff, right? So in football, it's the same thing. Averages are everything. If you're averaging a sack every 10 plays that you're in, and you're only getting paid $2 million a year, and then the guy that's making $50 million is averaging a sack every 25 plays, who has the better rate, rating? Well, it's the guy that's averaging one every 10 plays. And then if you quantify it by dollars, man, that gets on a slippery slope in a hurry, and I'm not going to go through that this morning. So I'm going to walk off the edge right now, unless there's anything else you want to add to that. But this is it's another conversation for later. Ladies, gentlemen, we're fine. We're good. To sum up Brad Holmes, we're good. We've been good. We're going to be good. I promise you. Take it out on me. Right? Take it out on me if you feel like I lied to you. Okay? Take it out on me. It's all good.
So what do we do next year if AQM has an amazing breakout second half of the season this year? What do we do next year? We won't be able to pay him.
No, you can pay him. The dude's old. He's going to get a 1-year wonder deal. He'll probably get a double, triple rate. You know, he'll probably be in that $5 million range, $6 million range for a season, I would assume. He's not going to get a 2, 3, 4, year contract at his age. Nobody's going to pay him that. He's going to be kind of walking that same line, I think, of Zadarius Smith, where, but again, he hasn't done what Zadarius Smith did, through his career at this point in his career. So I would say, yeah, you'll still be able to afford him. You want to keep that cohesion together. As long as he continues on the trend that he's on and he's playing good, I think AQM will be back another year. Josh Paschal, I'm less convinced that he'll be back. There's a possibility, but I'm less convinced. Davenport probably won't be back next year unless he really gets in and does something this year. But you're looking at your 6th round draft pick, man, to make a big step up. And beyond that, the Lions are going to be drafting an edge next year. I've promised y'all, first or second pick we make in this 2026 draft is going to be an edge, and the other one is going to be a left tackle. Those are my 2 picks right now, 100% locked in. Those are my first 2 picks, and that'll change by March. But when we get to March, we'll talk about it. You were talking about something, but let's get into something else real quick. I want to get into a little video day here. Sure. I'd spent a lot of time till 2:00 in the morning getting some things ready. Yeah, anytime you inject steroids in the back of your head, like it kind of wakes you up a little bit. Yeah, I couldn't fall asleep last night, so I was out here working till 2:00. So let's not waste that work and let's just get into this next video here. Be back here in just a few moments. Eric, tell us all about it, buddy. What's going on with YOOPERLITES? All right, up next, Alex Anzalone was on Jim Rome yesterday. Now, I just recorded the heavy hitters with Alex Anzalone. He's going to touch on a few things in this video. And then right after that, I'm going to give you guys an update on Dan Campbell. I've got a powerhouse of a video to share with you guys and some words from Dan Campbell. So if you don't know by now, you're going to find out here in about the next 20 minutes what's going on with the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator position. And I do have one other player maybe we'll have a chance to highlight today, or one other person, Hank Fraley, will get an opportunity to highlight today and what's going on there, at least from my perspective. And if you haven't had a chance, check out DetroitFootballJournal.com. That is where when I have time, and I'm actually awake, I do write some things. I do some long, very, very long, arduous process here of making sure that I go deep and write good reports, at least what I've been told are good reports on players, on personnel, the Lions. Check it out. It's free to subscribe. Detroit Lions, news, rumors, everything is on there, but DetroitFootballJournal.com. All right, let's get into Alex Anzalone on the Jim Rome Show. Wow, that's loud. Jeez.
All right, we'll have Alex Anzalone momentarily. He is checking in. We'll have that. And by checking in momentarily, I mean right now. So let me ask you this. Going back to your last game, Alex, it felt like you guys dominated the line of scrimmage on Sunday, both sides of the ball. What were your biggest takeaways from the defense, which held the Commanders to under 300 yards? What did you like best about that effort?
Yeah, I feel like, when you play against, Mariota, or even if Jaden Daniels was playing, the zone read, just adds a whole nother dynamic to the defensive game plan. And you got to play gap sound defense. You're going to have, one guy on the dive, one guy on the quarterback. So when they're trying to run the ball, we were able to, handle that well. But, when we made some critical third down stops is what helped as well.
Aiden Hutchinson said this about the defense, quote, "We're back to who we are. We're back to who we are," end of quote. Does that sound about right to you? And then specifically, if you had to guess, what's he saying exactly?
I mean, coming off that bye week, that Vikings game, it wasn't necessarily our defensive standard, or, there were plays out there that wasn't necessarily, typical for us, just in whole. So, we're back to kind of, I guess what he's saying is we're back to kind of who we are as far as how we play, the physicality with how we play, defensively, and, the standard. So we just got to keep it rolling and earn it every.
Alex, what about Aiden himself? Is he all the way back to who he was prior to his injury? And then how different is the entire unit when he's out there wrecking shop and just destroying dudes?
Well, I would say he better be back to how he was with that $180 million deal.
Right?
No, yeah, it's great to have him back. He just changes the game completely. He can win these one-on-ones, with ease. And then when he gets double teamed or chipped, he's able to even win those. So, it helps us out a lot from a back end perspective in coverage. So, I'm excited to be playing with him again and him move on from the injury.
You want to talk about consistency. You and I have talked for a number of years, even before you got there, but you have been voted to be a captain by your teammates for a 5th consecutive season. Now, football to me is the ultimate team game, made and played by people making the unbelievable sacrifices they have to make. What's the honor represent to you to be a captain? And then how do you approach that leadership?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge, especially this year because, this was the year I got the complete golden captain's patch on my jersey. And, it's an honor. It really is. You try not to make a big deal of it just because I lead by example a lot. I'm not the biggest rah-rah guy, but I speak truth when there needs to be truth spoken. So, it's an honor just to be out there and help lead the guys and, kind of be an older presence, for my teammates on defense and on the team in whole.
Yeah, Alex, what does that mean? Like the full golden patch? Explain what that means. What's the distinction?
Yeah. So I guess in layman's terms, you get it's kind of stupid, but it's cool at the same time. Your first year as a captain, you get 1 star on your patch on your jersey, and then 2, then 3, then 4, and then the 5th one it's all gold. So there's few guys that have the all gold, and I'm blessed and honored to have that opportunity and be on the same team for over 5 years.
So Dan Campbell confirmed that he had handled play calling duties on Sunday. I mean, from the outside looking in, it seemed like a pretty aggressive move. But then again, as we know, Dan's a pretty aggressive dude. What was your reaction when you heard or you saw that?
Yeah, so we found out as players, early in the week on Wednesday practice. So, it kind of is. It's one of those situations. It is what it is. He felt it was right for the team, right for the offense, and he gets that. He has the persona of being a meathead and kind of a motivational, coach or speaker. But he's really highly intelligent with the X's and O's, and he's proved it in 2021 when he took over play calling and this last game. And I'm excited to have him keep on doing it throughout the year. And just one of those situations. It is what it is, and he felt like it was best for the team.
I think it's really interesting, like what you just said, that he's got this rep as being, he's like this meathead, he's this CEO, he's this motivator, he's in. First of all, those are all good things. Those are all good things, but there's more to that guy than that, and he proved it again. I'm curious, there were all these questions, Alex, on the outside coming in like, hey, man, they're losing both their coordinators. Not one, but both their coordinators. Were you yourself at all concerned about Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn leaving?
Defensively, not really, just because with Kelvin Shepard, it's a lot of carryover, but at the same time, he's put his flair on it. And, I've had the blessing of him being my linebacker coach for the past 4 years. So I know exactly who he is and how he operates. And I knew he was ready for that job. And, on offense, it's, we have the playmakers to, make all these plays. And I think no matter who the coordinator is, it's not too hard to call with these guys. So, and Jared really runs the show a lot, and, he's phenomenal.
Hey, Alex, defensively, I'm not looking to get you to drag Aaron, but is it me? I think you guys are better. Are you a better defensive unit this year than even last year?
I think so. And some of that's personnel, just who we have back and who's healthy and all that. But like I said, Shep is a different play caller than AG was. And, he allows us to do a little bit more. And, statistically right now, maybe we're better, but, it's hard to say which one is better, whether it's playing, we're going to be great at this one coverage and this is what we're going to call, or we're going to get into different coverage based on different looks. So, a little bit different in flair, but at the same time, a lot of the same principles that we've had in the past.
Hey, Alex, I appreciate you so much. I know you got a big week, especially going back home, and you got a lot going on, but you always make time for us, man. I appreciate you so much. Great to get caught up. Thank you very much. Have a great week, and good luck this weekend.
No doubt, Jim. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate you, man.
You're the best, dude. You are the best. Alex Anzalone's always good to us. Always good to us.
Alex Anzalone's good for the Detroit Lions, too. And I am super impressed with this guy, man. I had no idea, Eric, that there was a golden patch. How do I put it? There was levels to this game. 5 seasons to get a full gold patch. I've never noticed it. I never knew it existed. But man, big hats off. I'm loving it, baby. I'm loving it. I'm loving that Alex Anzalone is able to get his 5th season. Fifth season in Detroit too, right? Was he in 21 or was he in 22? I don't remember now.
He came in 21.
21, so yeah, 5th season.
All 5 years.
Yeah.
So we have one other gold patch captain on the Detroit Lions. Can you name him?
Hold on.
Don't look it up.
I'm not going to look it up. I'm trying to adjust my faders. You were really loud there. So it has to be 5 seasons.
Yep. We have one other one.
Jared Goff.
That's it.
Has to be.
Yep. Jared Goff and Anzalone are our 2 5-time captains on the Detroit Lions.
Makes sense, man. It makes perfect sense. Alex Anzalone said a couple of things in here. Number one, addressed the question, with Aiden saying that they're kind of back. I'm a little bit scared at saying that you're back after one game. I think that they've been playing extremely well this season. Yeah, they've had 3 hiccups this year, not all on the defense. The offense, kind of poo-pooed it a little bit, even though I don't know how I said this the other day. How do we say the offense is struggling when they're putting up, more than 21 points a game, and losing, putting up 24, 27 points a game, whatever it is? How, right? That's how, I guess that's how conceited we are right now with this team, because it's like, we suck. We only put up 27 points or 24 points. Man, most teams are begging to put up 2 touchdowns any given week. We were averaging over 40 points per game through the first few weeks of the season. Those numbers quickly dove to about 21 points per game the last 3 weeks prior to the Washington game. So we were back against Washington offensively, and I think they played a pretty solid game against Washington as well. The snarky remark about Aiden's contract, it was nothing but fun and love, man. Just trying to say, yeah, you better be back. Trying to getting that kind of money. He said something about Dan Campbell that they learned about Dan Campbell calling the plays earlier in the week on Wednesday. Dan Campbell has alluded that he made that decision shortly after the press conference, after the Vikings game, whether that was Monday or Tuesday, whatever. They didn't practice until Wednesday, so or maybe they didn't have a team meeting until Wednesday. I don't remember now. I think they're off on Monday. I think they do something on Tuesday. Yeah, they do something on Tuesday, but maybe he didn't let the team know until Wednesday. So the fact that it didn't get out of the house, that's pretty impressive. Like, it didn't leak.
Very, because not a single insider, beat reporter, anyone knew anything until the game started.
Yeah. And then
I think we noticed it at the same time everyone else did.
Well, you noticed it before me. I didn't even pay attention to it, honestly. Of course, I was not here where I would normally be focused, in on things, but I was out getting some lunch and watching the game up the road, which I have not done in years. It's been years. I'm usually a homebody for the games, or I'm at the game, right? So the last thing he says, or question, do the Lions have a better defense? Yes, they do. They absolutely do. The Lions have a much better defense than what they've had in seasons past. So before we get into, I want to roll into my video. It's going to take me probably 8 to 10 minutes to do or less. I'm going to try to do it in 5 or 6. What is on your sheet this morning that you would like to get into that maybe you could do for a couple of minutes?
I could always do the NFC North report if you want.
Roll it.
Okay. So I said this earlier. Honestly, I did not know that the Vikings had an offensive coordinator. I thought that Kevin O'Connell called the plays. And apparently they have an offensive coordinator.
Well, every team
but
does.
He doesn't call the plays.
Same thing for Andy Reid, same thing for the Vikings. I mean, everyone.
Yeah. So I didn't know that Wes Phillips was the offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. And the Minnesota Vikings had 8 false start penalties at home last week. And this was against the Ravens, and their offensive coordinator immediately addressed the 8 false starts, calling them embarrassing and losing football. 3 of the 8 false starts were committed by veteran captain Brian O'Neill. Phillips stated that tweaks will be made to fix the operational issues, though he did not confirm personnel changes. And then on special teams, they kind of fell apart. Special teams coordinator Matt Daniels addressed the catastrophic fumble by Miles Price on a kickoff return in the third quarter. The fumble happened right after the Ravens had taken a 12-10 lead. The Ravens recovered the ball on a short field and immediately scored a touchdown, stretching their lead to 19-10 and taking the air out of US Bank Stadium. Daniels emphasized that Price must learn that possession of the football is a lot more important than trying to get that extra yard. And now the Vikings are in a must-win now at 4-5, but still 2-0 in the NFC North. The Vikings face a crucial divisional game against the Chicago Bears this weekend, which is viewed as a must-win to stay in the divisional race. And then on to the to the Wisconsin Packers. All right, Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers coach Mike LaFleur is facing questions about his job security after a 10-7 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, marking the team's second straight defeat. The loss dropped the Packers to 5-3-1 and from first place to third place in the NFC North. When asked if he's on the hot seat, LaFleur deflected, saying, "I'll leave that for everybody else to decide," and that he just wants to focus on the day-to-day. These questions may stem from the recent quick firings of other coaches like Brian Daboll with the Giants and Brian Callahan with the Titans. Despite LaFleur's overall success, a 66.5% win rate, 5 playoff appearances, expectations were heightened this season after the team went all in and acquired pass rusher Micah Parsons. While the defense is playing at a championship level, the offense, LaFleur's specialty, has struggled significantly, scoring just 13 points in week 9 and 7 points against the Eagles. And then the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears fans are celebrating having a better record than the Green Bay Packers. And I got to pull this up here. So this one is pretty funny. So Bears fans got on the World Wide Web, and they've been celebrating that they have a better record than the Packers for the first time since 2022. So the first one says, "Good morning, Chicago, and happy Tuesday to all my Bears fans. Our team has a better record than the Packers this morning, and it's week 11, baby. I love it when they call us frauds or our schedule is easy. Bring it on. This is the NFL. No game is easy." And then the next one, "The Bears have their best record in years. They are currently in the 6th seed in the NFC playoff race. The offense is putting up numbers not seen in decades. The young head coach and QB combo is growing. How are you feeling right now? I'm so scared for the next few games." And then the next one, "The Chicago Bears have a better record than the Green Bay Packers. Bear down." I can't believe I'm saying this. The Bears are actually better than the Packers. And the Bears have a better record than the Packers this deep into the season, this is wild. It's going to get real toxic in here really fast. So even the Bears fans, a lot of them know that this may not last very long for them being ahead of the Green Bay Packers, but they're having fun with it while they can. And that's the NFC North report for today.
All right. I think that might have been just the right amount of time for me to try to get a couple of things set up here.
All right.
I'm almost there. So Robbie's had a Raw, I wish I knew your name because it'd be so much easier just to call you by name. Robbie's had a question in here. And so I went ahead and used it for a poll. I've been sucking at doing polls lately, so he gave me a really good poll question. If Hutchinson was somebody else, would anyone be pounding the table to get Mohammed a running buddy? I think I know where this is going. Correct me if I'm wrong. Because he is a household name, like you mentioned. He's a former U of M elite. He's Michigan man through and through. University of Michigan and State of Michigan. And now he's in Detroit. I probably would agree with that. But here's the funny thing about the NFL. It's not the guy on the other side that's the problem on most teams. When you pay an elite defensive end, when you draft an elite defensive end, that is the guy that is supposed to be the game changer, the game wrecker. You heard Jim Rome. He's like, hey, when Aiden's back now, like, what's it like, when this guy's back and he's wrecking games, right? That's what he's supposed to be, a game wrecker. And again, this is not like some hit piece on Aiden. Like, I don't think Aiden's trash at all. I think he's a very good football player. He has his issues like every other player does. And wherever those issues are, run defense is really his issue. 41% missed tackle rate, 65 grade by PFF. The constant missed assignments. But again, I can say that sitting here, but I've never had a conversation with Calvin Shepard or Dan Campbell to say, break this play down. What was the call? What was the assignment? Right? Where was the rotation? What was Aiden's job? And then that'll tell me whether he really made a mistake. Watching the game, what I see is a mistake, but I don't know what the scheme totally was. I can go by formation, right? I can look at where the guys lined up, what they did on the play, but unless I really know what his assignment was, it's kind of hard for me to go all in and say that he's just terrible at what he's doing. Now, the missed tackles, that's a problem, because if you get an opportunity to tackle someone, you got to make it. You have to. Like that's what this team is built on. There's a giant emphasis on being the best tackling football team in the nation. Calvin Shepard prides himself on that. So again, it's just a conversation about stats, analytics, and anytime that I can validate a little bit of what we've been saying, or I've been saying primarily. I don't want to put anything that I project out there on Eric. It gives me an opportunity to have the conversation again with supporting stats and analytics. I know that there's some people out there that say that they do stats and they do analytics, and like, that's me. They take that from me, whatever. They take the exact statement from me, actually. But I've been running with it since day one. That's what I've been known for. I've kind of gotten away from it a little bit because I used to do it primarily in the night shows, Tuesdays and Thursday nights, where I did pregame breakdown offense and then pregame breakdown defense, flip-flop on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If I get an opportunity, I'll do it again. I've been trying to put that into the keys of the game instead, talk about it on Friday, write about it, do it again on Saturday, put something out before the game. That's kind of where that transitioned to. But I think everyone really liked it better when I broke it down in an hour podcast and had more time to do it. And I would rip apart both teams. When you try to elevate a channel, man, sometimes some things get lost in the weeds. And you try to get better at your craft, and that's all I'm trying to do too. It takes time, to figure it out. By year 3 next year, man, we're going to be humming in a whole different direction. Where this channel is right now, by the way, sorry to go off on a tangent, but I kind of took a comment hard from somebody. I'm not going to say their name, but when they said that we had 9,900 subs 3 weeks ago, which was like 4 weeks ago now, and grew to 12 plus in 2 weeks, called me a cheater. What did I cheat on? What test did I take that I cheated on? Because
People think that people buy subs.
Yeah.
If you do that, it doesn't work.
It'll ruin your channel. Now there are people out there. I learned that you could even buy subs from the guy that thinks that he has created me. That's who taught me that that's even possible. So it begs the question if that individual is doing that. This is 100% organic. I haven't even bought ads yet, and I still might buy some ads. I've promoted one thing. I'm not going to give away what I do, but there's some things that I do that are working right now, and it has nothing to do with any other channel. It has nothing to do with their thumbs. It has nothing to do with their stupid color yellow. It's just I've learned a lot of things. What people don't understand about me is I do a ton of research, as you know. Well, you do know that about me. Do you think that I walked into this not doing my research? Do you think I walked into this not reading 100 white papers? Do you think I walked into this not researching other YouTubers that had millions of subscribers, not just 10,000 or 30,000 or 50,000? Do you do your research, right?
Can you imagine 1 million subs?
Yeah, that'll never happen on this channel.
Wow.
Now, the other channels that I don't discuss, one of them is about ready to hit 100K. And the next 10 channels that I'm starting here over the next several weeks and into the off season, those channels are going to blow up. And I'll share those ones with you. I'm not going to share the other ones that are politics or religion, and I'm not on them, but I will never share those because I don't want my name attached with it. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that I did videos that are totally different than what anybody else is doing. NFL conspiracy work, right? I have a new channel now. It's called @NFL Conspiracies. It'll be launching soon. And that's where a lot of that stuff's going to go. It'll be on here too, but that's where a lot of that stuff's going to go. I should just show you. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'll show you how impressive those videos actually were. YouTube recommended over 98% of my views. Not some dude. YouTube did. Because of how the engagement was, which was insane. Like 20% click-through rates is insane. Over almost 2,000 new subs just on that one video. Not promoted, not bought, organic. Matter of fact, I think it just hit 100K today. 100K views today. It's even after hitting 50K, which was great, it's been growing. That thing is paying me like $100 a month just from that one video on residual, right? It's $100 a month on residual. Because of how good that video has done. It's still growing. But I've had 2 other videos that did that. Yesterday, right? I did a video on Jared Goff on the trolling, right? Where's that video at right now? Has anyone else done a video like that? No. That's over 20,000 views in 24 hours. It's about to hit 21,000. You know how many subscribers we gained from this? I'll show you. You can see that. 135 in 24 hours.
Wow.
Okay.
Good job, man.
So it's organic. Don't let anyone else lie to you, man. They just, people just get jealous of success because when you go back and look at where other channels were at their 2-year anniversary, they were nowhere close. The last time I ever spoke to a certain individual, this channel had about 1,500 subs, maybe 2,000. That was 18 months ago. So you do the math. Anyway, I want to get into Jared Goff. I want to get into Jared Goff, but I also want to get into Dan Campbell. And when I try to pull off a video, because I want to make sure I get it out right when we're done, because I have a feeling it's going to come out today when the new press conference is done. And by the way, I didn't tell you any of that stuff to brag. I never brag. I feel like now I have to validate some things and I have to defend myself. I'm not going to do it like other idiots do it, but
let the haters hate. That's what I say. Delete, block, move on, and
yeah,
just
they
do your thing.
Ben
Don't worry
blocked.
about everybody else.
Exactly. I got enough health problems and things to worry about. I don't need to worry about the fleas.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I have everything dialed up so I can do this here real quick.
Okay.
All right, give me 30 seconds or less. We'll be right back, and I'm going to jump right into a video. Again, I don't do this very often live, so we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work, I won't do it again. But we're trying to do it. We are trying to do our segments to do videos because we're wasting a ton of opportunity with videos. And I guess what people don't understand, too, is everything that everyone does in a video, we've already discussed it in the morning show. Just because it's not on a thumbnail or in a title, we've already discussed it. So all the videos that come out today, we've already discussed. It's here. And maybe I should do chapters because then that'll show people that we've already done it. All right, we're going to roll to the countdown clock. How much time is left before the Eagles game? And then I'll be back.
In the city, where the road meets the night, the Lions charge, ready for the fight. No more hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Locked on Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. In the city, where the road meets the night, the Lions charge, ready for the fight. Noble hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Rocked on Detroit Lions will rise. Rocked on Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. With every game, we rise and unite. Feeling the passion igniting the light. Through highs and lows, we'll stand as one. A legacy, a tale that's just begun. Together we roar. Together.
That wasn't supposed to happen. Hold on. Oh, that's crazy. It's fun. All right. Detroit Lions fans, man, I've got a banger of a video for you today. Dan Campbell just made the boldest move of his coaching career yet. John Morton is out as the play caller. Dan Campbell is in. And what happened next, or just a few days ago against Washington, was nothing short of explosive. But here's what nobody's talking about, and we're going to get into that right now.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right, what's up, Lions Nation? I'm Will Rock here with Rockhound Detroit Lions, and if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now, and I'm going to break down one of the biggest stories in the Detroit Lions football era here in 2025, and no one's talking about it. So let's get this channel up over 13K, over 140 now subscribers in the last 24 hours. I know you can do it. You can help us out. I appreciate each and every single one of you. From the bottom of my heart, man, you guys are what makes this channel tick. So what am I talking about? Dan Campbell, he just took over the play calling against Washington, and the results were insane. We're talking a season high 546 yards, 44 points, and a statement win that this offense is about to go nuclear if Dan Campbell continues to call the plays. So let's get into it, right? Here's all the facts, the stats, and all the glorious information that I prepared for you today. We are going to roll into a video of Dan Campbell's words himself and what he says the future holds at offensive coordinator. So let me kind of set the stage. This didn't really happen overnight, right? This was building for weeks. We had an inept offense performance against the Green Bay Packers. We did not play well against the Vikings, offensive or defensively, but we should have been in each game to win. We really should have. Against the Chiefs, again, we had to overcome a lot of things that maybe we just couldn't, right? It's kind of hard to go up against the refs too and have two opponents, but we didn't make things easier on ourselves. And John Morton just didn't capitalize. He was not utilizing the offensive capability that sits right in front of him, right? All of these guys that are on this squad, he has plenty of weapons to use, and he was barely using half. So after the Lions' Week 9 loss to Minnesota, the offense was in a rut. You could feel it, you could see it, you could smell it. It was not looking good. So let me give you the numbers that forced Dan Campbell's hands. The offensive struggles were 65 rushing yards against the Vikings, the 7th lowest rushing total of the entire Dan Campbell era back to 2021, 21.7 points per game average over the previous 3 contests, 0 rhythm, 0 flow, 0 identity. John Morton was calling plays, and it just wasn't working. The offense looked stagnant, predictable, and way out of sync. And Dan Campbell mentioned that himself. But here's what Dan Campbell said right after the Vikings loss. And I believe that a lot of this is key. It was kind of setting the stage to where we are today. But here's his quote. He says, yeah, I mean, look, I know this. It's something where, okay, man, you go into the bye and you look at a few things, and then we make a couple of tweaks and come out and you're like, eh. So I don't know if concern is the right word, but we got to clean it up. We got to find the right balance there to help us convert. We probably got to do a couple of things a little different. Well, what was my translation after that game on Monday morning? Well, I simply said that Dan Campbell knew that changes were coming. It's not something that he was pondering in the last 12 hours. It's something that he's probably been battling with for 3 or 4 weeks, probably since the Chiefs game, honestly. Campbell knew this was happening. He just wasn't ready to say it publicly just yet. You fast forward to this Washington game. Again, he makes the call. He's taking over play calling duties. John Morton is still on the staff, but he's no longer calling the shots. And what happened next? Well, pure offensive domination. Let me paint you a picture of what Dan Campbell's play calling looked like in his debut. I know I've already given you the numbers once, but I'm going to give it to you again. 546 total yards, season high. 44 points scored, most productive offense output in weeks. Scored on every single drive, but the final possession of the kneel down for victory formation. Jahmyr Gibbs, what did he have? 190 all-purpose yards, over 140 on the ground, like 70, 80 through the air. I mean, incredible game. David Montgomery, 15 touches. Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 touches. How about Jamison Williams being the leading receiver for the first time this season, scoring a touchdown, over 100 yards on the day? But let me say it again. The Lions scored on every single drive. That's not just good play calling. That's elite play calling. What changed? Here's what changed. The aggressive mentality of Dan Campbell's bite the kneecaps philosophy, right? Full display. 4th down attempts, check. 2 for 2. Downfield shots, check. This was the Dan Campbell that we know and love. This was Ben Johnson 2.0, of his offense that had us in a rhythm, right? The second biggest thing, we're back in rhythm. There was tempo. There was flow to this offense. It operated with better rhythm and tempo than we've seen all season. Well, maybe since the Bears game. But they were keeping Washington's defense off balance. They couldn't do anything to stop us. We moved fast. We executed with tempo at a high level. Third thing, the personnel usage totally changed. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, all of them made significant contributions in this game, something that we haven't seen in several weeks. Dan Campbell was getting the ball to his playmakers in space. letting them do what they do best, which is build off of the yak. Some of the largest yak performances of the season for Jamison Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs. The fourth thing, which is our identity, it's our bread and butter. You have heard Dan say it. Play, action, passing. You run to set up the play pass. And if you can set up the play pass, it counters the run. Effectiveness, Dan Campbell's commitment to the run set up the devastating play action passing that absolutely torched Washington's secondary. This is what the Lions do well. This is what the offense is supposed to look like. And finally, the fifth thing, red zone execution. The Lions finished drives with touchdowns instead of settling only for field goals. That's the difference between a good offense and an elite offense. Yes, we did kick a field goal under the red zone. I probably wouldn't have, but Dan Campbell wanted to win this game, and he was not going to go away miscalculating a decision and having to pay for it later. In Dan Campbell's own words after the game, here's what he had said. Let's try something a little bit different. Look, I know what I want to do. I know how I want to do it. When you're the head coach and you know how you want it to look, it's one thing to kind of say how you want it to look, but it's hard to crawl into my head. I just don't know I have a good feel, or I just know I have a good feel of our players, and I know what we're capable of. That right there tells you everything, right? Dan Campbell couldn't get more into execute his vision. So he took matters into his own hands, and the results, well, undeniable. Dan Campbell's commitment the rest of the season. What is it? Where is it going from here? That's probably the biggest question that everyone's wondering, and it hasn't been answered. Or has it? Well, it has. And now here's the big news that is about to drop. Dan Campbell has now confirmed he will continue to be calling plays for the remainder of the 2025 season. This isn't a one-game experiment. This isn't a temporary fix. This is the new reality for your 2025 Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell has essentially said, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm the head coach. I know this offense better than anyone else, and I'm taking full control. Well, let's listen to Dan Campbell and where he mentions exactly this. And you have to pay attention to the nuance of the question that is going to be asked of Dan Campbell and how he answered it.
Dan, we got a special treat for you this week. Stoney's in for John.
All right. What's up, Stoney?
How you been?
Good. Good, man.
I assume you were up late night scouting and taking notes just like we were?
I was. Yeah, I was kind of looking at what they've done up to this point and then just trying to look over my shoulder at the TV and watch a little bit of that, too, while it was going on.
So when you watch those two teams play, defenses looked really good, but the offenses had some problems. You have more confidence going into next week's game in Philly after watching the Eagles play?
Well, I mean, you got to get all the information, you know. I mean, we got to put this in with everything else and kind of take it for what it is. Obviously, you just said it, two very good teams, two very good defenses, and both sides, the offenses, there's weaponry on both sides. You know, it was really, both teams, about the time you make a play or two here, then something negative happens. You know, you get a negative run, or you get a sack, or a penalty, or a turnover, and that kills you on offense when you're playing really good defenses, man. It can't. In that kind of game, man, that's all it takes to put you in a bad way. So we got our hands full. It's always good to see some of these teams, to know what you're getting ready for, to understand the type of talent that's over there. These guys have won a lot of football. Certainly they're champions. But it's something our guys embrace, man. We're embracing this, and we're going to look forward to this big time.
One of the unique challenges playing Philadelphia, the tush push. I know you guys have been for keeping it in the game, but it's just another thing you have to prepare for. And how it's officiated, I know, has been a challenge this year too. But what is it like to prepare for that play?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing easy about defending it. It's hard. The good news is they're not hiding it. I mean, you know what's coming. And then they've got a couple of wrinkles off of it. They'll show it, and then they'll hit the perimeter. You know, once you're all crunched down in there, he'll take it and either hand it off or take it off around the perimeter on the run. You know, that's a good curveball. Good changeup for him.
How do you practice that? Defending it.
Well, it's difficult. I mean, you can't really practice that per se full speed. You know, like I'm not going to line our guys up and say, all right, we're going to go 100 miles an hour here, guys. Snap the whistle on tush push. 8 times today. So it's just more about the technique and how you want to defend it, what you want to do. You know, we're fortunate here. We got some pretty good dudes that know how to play with leverage. You know, DJ Reader and Lopez and Mac and those guys. So that's where it all starts. Is you around the center in those 2 A gaps. You got to have a couple of stumps. You know, you got to have some stumps that have roots, and it starts there, and then everybody's got to fill in. So, listen, the tush push is the least of my concerns. I know it's going to show up, and it's a good play for them, but we got a lot of other things we got to defend before that.
Speaking of the guys up front, you kind of praised Lopez yesterday for the way he played. So I'd like to ask you how he's improved. And on the flip side, Talik Williams didn't have a lot of snaps on Sunday. Is there something that he needs to do to get back more in the mix?
No, yeah. Well, Lopez has just been really since he's gotten here. He's playing at a high level, man. It's one of the reasons we wanted him here. He's an outstanding role player for us. When he comes in, we don't miss a beat, man. He can lift the point of attack, man. He's one of those guys, man. He plays with leverage. He's stout. He's strong. He's explosive. But then he can run the line of scrimmage too now. So you want to run wide zone on him, he can get knocked back and run. I mean, that was evident the other day. I mean, he was in the backfield 2 or 3 different times. He's one of the reasons we had some of these TFLs. And then he plays hard, man. He plays snap to whistle. He always does. And that's him. And so he's really kind of been doing that anyway. But I just thought it showed up in the nature of that game and what Washington was trying to do. It was just good to see. And so I love that room right now. He's a big part of that. And no, Tyleek's just a young guy continuing to get better, growing, there's just a little inconsistency at times, but that's not out of the norm. He correct it, get a little bit better, and move on. The hard thing for him, which is a good thing for all of us, is Max playing good, Reader's playing good, Lopez is playing good. So hey man, you got some good players in front of you right now, and so all he's got to do is elevate his game, and then he'll be in front of them.
Okay, so you heard it, right? What does this mean now for Johnny Morton? His future with the organization is now in serious doubt. Here's what Dan Campbell was asked. He was asked a couple of things. And number one, it was, when did the decision happen to call plays? And he said it was, pretty much right after the game. But we had spoke about this yesterday on the morning show. Did the players come to Dan and say, hey, there was a problem? And the answer was no. He made this decision on his own, which, again, I think is a paramount decision. Obviously, it's something that he needs to do for himself. Maybe paramount's the wrong word, but the fact that they did or didn't, we probably will never know. I don't think Dan Campbell would ever throw his players under the bus or pit the players against John Morton. So whether there was conversations or not, we'll just kind of leave that up to imagination. But then he was asked, about his relationship with Jared Goff, and you could hear just how emotional Dan was getting at saying how important, and how incredible that relationship is. Dan absolutely loves his players, man, and he does not want these guys to fail. He doesn't want these guys to fail because of his decisions or his coaching moves or the guys, the coaches that he brings in. And that is why Dan Campbell is doing this. But when he was asked, is this something that they were going to do for the future? Is this something that Dan was going to continue to do? He deflected, right? He started talking about something else. And at the very end of answering that question, he says, and yeah, I do. I am. He's going to be, and now it's paraphrased, that he's going to be calling plays for the rest of the season. For at least right now. That's what Dan Campbell is telling us. John Morton's job is in serious doubt. I don't think that that's a secret. I think everybody understands that. He's still on the staff. His primary responsibility was stripped away of calling plays. Don't be surprised when the Lions are looking to 2026 for a new offensive coordinator. We've already laid out Brian Daboll. I'm going to talk about Hank Fraley today. We're also going to be getting into Scotty Montgomery. Those are the three lead horses for me, and there's one very clear winner right now. And I believe that's Hank Fraley, but I'm not stepping away from Scotty Montgomery totally. But I do believe that Hank Fraley has the makeup. And after everything that I've prepared to talk about with Hank Fraley, I think that you're going to like the pick too. But for this offense, man, this is huge. Dan Campbell's play calling has produced immediate results. If he can sustain this level of production, the Lions offense could be the most dangerous in the NFL down the stretch, the most important stretch where we need to be playing the best football we can into January. For the Super Bowl run, the Lions are right now, they're 6-3. They're in a perceived championship window. Dan Campbell taking over play calling could be the difference between a playoff appearance, not just a win, but even making it to the playoffs, and a Super Bowl championship. Could you imagine for a moment that Dan Campbell takes over plays and runs this team to the Super Bowl and brings home the Lombardi? Oh, that statue will be built within 2 years. I guarantee it. It'll be right next to Barry Sanders. This is a head coach who's willing to make all the bold decisions, take the risks. Whatever he needs to do, he's going to do. That's the kind of leadership that will win championships in Detroit. Sitting atop the NFC now by default, like I'm not going to get overly excited about one game. And yeah, they just got more dangerous. But I want to hear from you. My question number one would be, do you think that Dan Campbell should continue calling plays for the rest of the season? Or should he get it back to John Morton after he shows Johnny what needs to be done? These are the plays that we need to call. This is the order and the rhythm and that they need to be called in. Maybe Johnny didn't do enough tape review. So that's my first question. Question number two. Would love to know in the comments below. If the Lions move on from Johnny Morton in the offseason, I think it's going to happen. Who should they hire as the next offensive coordinator? Is it Brian Daboll? Is it Hank Fraley? Is it Scotty Montgomery? Or is it somebody else? I don't know about you, but I feel pretty comfortable with the internal hire. We've seen just how well that has worked out for Kelvin Shepard, and Hank Fraley has been with this team for 8 seasons. He's been coaching for 13 plus years. He has 10 years of playing center at an elite level. And when I get into the next segment on Hank Fraley, you're going to hear how impressive this man is. So drop your answers in the comments below. I'm reading every single one, and I'm going to respond to every single one that has the best take of the day, and I'll be highlighting it later this week. Here's my take. Dan Campbell calling plays is the best thing that could have happened to this offense. He knows his players, he knows his system, and he's not afraid to be aggressive. If he can sustain this level of production, the Lions are absolutely going to the Super Bowl. Mark my words today on November 12th, 2025. They will be going to a Super Bowl this season as long as Dan Campbell can sustain. That's the story. Lions Nation. Dan Campbell took control of the offense exploded. And this team just became even more dangerous. I think that those are the few things that we need to grasp in this moment. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss a video or a live stream. We're covering the Lions now through the Super Bowl run each and every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. And of course, you get your videos sprinkled throughout. 365 days, we're doing this. And you don't want to miss a second of it. I'm Will Rock. This is Rocked on Detroit Lions. Let's go One Pride, baby. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hold on.
I don't think we're live anymore.
Whoops. I hit.
There we go.
Yeah,
Now
my
we're
bad.
back.
My bad. Sorry about that. I somehow I hit stop streaming instead of stop recording. or when I hit stop recording, it accidentally stopped streaming. Either way, I'll just be able to go back and cut it out. Hopefully we didn't lose a bunch of people. But anyway, I asked if you were awake. I know we ran up against the clock. You got to go. So my question is, number one, how'd it go? How'd I do?
Yeah, perfect. It was really good.
Well, I don't know about perfect, but
I heard the whole thing. So
yeah, I don't know what people were saying about not having audio. The audio, I listened to it on my phone. It's perfectly fine. I was trying to tell people in the chat, when we run our audio, it is 75% on your phone, your device. You should be able to hear everything crystal clear. And we do that for a reason. Some people are hard of hearing. They have to turn it up. The other problem is like this audio from Costa or Jansen, whatever it was. Oh, it was disgusting. And I haven't re-rendered it and tried to clean it up because that takes a lot of time. And I was already up till 2 o'clock in the morning trying to put some things together. Would you believe that we maybe made it through 30% of the things that we wanted to get to today?
Yeah, not even.
Jeez.
So our rankings, no nothing today.
Yeah. Well, hey, there's always tomorrow, and we kind of flip halfway through Thursday anyway. What's your final of the day? I don't want to keep you any longer. I know you got to run.
You're talking about Dan Campbell and him possibly taking us to a Super Bowl with the way things are right now, with him calling plays, with Morton up in the box. And I'm going to say this, if the Lions were to do that, why would they mess with it going into next season? Why would Dan Campbell change? Why would they get rid of Morton? Why wouldn't they just keep him up in the box? If that works, that dynamic works that well, that we can win a Super Bowl, why would you screw with it?
I think that's a great point. Wish I would have had that for the video. Maybe I'll do a follow-up and we can talk about that. We could do our own video breaking that down because that is a great point. But I want to throw something in on that. Hank Fraley, you said it the other day. Little concerned about Hank Fraley leaving because he had a couple of opportunities, and I'm going to do Hank Fraley next. I'll just put it into a video and I'll put it out this afternoon. But I'm afraid of him leaving if he doesn't get an opportunity. I know that he wants to stay, and a lot of my coverage on Hank Fraley speaks to that. But his loyalty, man, I think you have to give Hank the shot. And I love the dynamic of Dan Campbell. The one thing I didn't go into either was this is going to pull Dan Campbell away from his main responsibilities. And what I'm afraid of, and again, this will be a follow-up to this, I'm afraid of it taking him away from what he normally does to the point where maybe we start to suffer in other areas. I don't want to see Dan, just like Aiden burning himself out. I don't want to see Dan burn himself out. I'm sure he's already burned out.
Yeah.
You know, so I to both of those points, questions, whatever. If it works, yeah, keep it. But you know what you can do with Morton? You can just hire him as a consultant. He can just be on staff as an assistant, and you can still utilize his brain. And you can have Hank Fraley be an offensive coordinator in training for a year. And Dan maybe can lessen his load 50%. That's for Dan to decide. All I care about is what we see on the field.
I just think if he does such a great job up in the box, Dan does such a great job calling the plays, and this whole dynamic with everyone together, him throwing stuff off Frank and him throwing stuff off Scotty and the running backs coach and everybody else, if this dynamic works so well, we win a Super Bowl, we put up a statue, I could see Morton sticking around for another year or two. I could really see it happen if that dynamic really works that well. Or they hire another guy to be up there and Dan continues to call plays. Because I watched this show, and I think it was called Ride the Lightning. And it's on Netflix. It's a newer show. And it's about one of our former presidents that no one really knew about. It was back in the late 1800s, right after late 1800s, early 1900s, when after Lincoln, and it was President Jim Garfield. And when he went to a convention, he went there to give a speech for another person that he was promoting to have that other senator be a candidate for president. And he ended up giving this amazing speech, and everyone, instead of voting for the person that he was validating, they all started turning their votes towards him. He never threw his hat in the ring, anything, but he ends up getting voted into presidency. So this is kind of like Dan Campbell. This isn't something he asked for. This isn't something he wanted. But you know what? He found out that he was absolutely built for this. He's fantastic at it, and there's no one better at it. So it's kind of the same thing as Jim Garfield. Didn't ask for it, didn't want it, didn't aspire to it, but because he was the person he was, he ended up getting it. And that's the same thing with Dan Campbell calling plays. He didn't ask for this. He wanted John Morton to do it. But he saw that things were not working. Yeah, we were 5-3, but we could have been, what, 7-2? We could have been 8-1.
You mean right now we're 6-3, aren't we?
Yeah, we're 6-3 now. But at the time when he made the change, we were 5-3 before that game, right? So he saw the writing on the wall that, hey, we're good right now, but we could be great, and we should be great with the players that we have right now. We shouldn't be messing around anymore. Enough's enough. Make the change. He made the change, and it worked out, at least for one game. We're going to see how it does against the Eagles, and I'm going to leave you guys with this for the day. My guarantee for this week is the Detroit Lions will score in the first half of the game versus the Eagles. And the Lions will score more than the Packers did versus the Eagles this weekend.
Well, God, I hope so. But I don't think that we're going to be able to win a game against the Eagles unless we put up at least 21 points. At least.
Yes.
At least 21 points. So
and with our defense, I think there is going to be more scoring in this game on both sides of the ball. This one might be more of a barn burner than the Packers-Eagles game.
What's going on with the views in today's live? We were at 163 at 9 a.m. What happened?
I don't know. We got 110 in right now.
Yeah, it was 100. I'm sorry, we were at 170 around 9 a.m. and then it just trailed off shortly after 9 a.m. Then we were at 150 around 9:30, and then it really fell off about 9:45. I wonder if it's because I put up the overlays for the breaks and that.
I don't know.
I don't know. And then I think we lost a bunch of people when I accidentally terminated the stream. I'm just curious.
That always helps when everybody thinks it's done. I would have thought it was done for the day because we got the black screen.
I didn't pay attention to any of the viewership today because I was trying to handle some other things and try to, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying about the audio. Like I could hear the audio just fine on my phone. So I mute myself. I pull my ear out. I turn my phone all the way up and it's loud. It's super loud. Like if I can hear it from 3 feet away and I can hear every word, we're good. So I don't know what's going on your end, but I will say this. Their audio from that segment, they were so distorted, it wasn't even funny. Mm-hmm. I wound it. I had to, I took the audio capture down to 50% and you could still hear it, but it wasn't as good. So when I pull the video down and upload it, I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to clean up the audio so you can hear the rest of it. Someone said that they didn't hear where Dan Campbell said he was calling plays the rest of the year. How did you not hear that? Did that not play?
Oh, I thought it was in there.
The screen went black for like 10 seconds, which means the video was done. And so if the video was done, everything should have been there because I clipped it all. And I listened to it last night multiple times. Dan didn't come out and say, I am calling plays the rest of the season. That's why I said you have to listen to the nuance of the question, which asked Dan if he's going to be calling plays the rest of the season. He deflected. He did not answer the question straight on. At the end of answering that question, he said, I did. You know what? Eric, I know you got to run. I'll just bring it back up and I'll show you. Or better yet, just watch the video. It's about a 15, 20-minute video or whatever it was. you'll hear it in plain English then, because I'm going to clean it up. So anyway, I think that's it for me too today. I've been up, been up early, went to bed at 2 a.m. I don't really have a final take of the day other than I see some people are concerned about the conversation, about play calling and coordinator issues and that, and I'm not concerned. I think that what we witnessed out of Dan Campbell is perfect. As perfect as it can be. It'll be better this week. What a perfect opportunity, though, going up against a Washington Commanders team that was beat up. If he had to do this against the Eagles, that's a problem. And I think that Dan did it at the right time, which the right time is now. It was before the Eagles. He had to get one game of practice in. So, all right, Eric, we're going to run, man. We'll see you guys, or maybe he's already gone and frozen. I don't know. We'll see you guys in the next one tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. We start to flip to the Eagles. Look, we have a lot to talk about with the Eagles, and I'm probably tonight. I know we're going to do a little bit of film review from last week, so we'll be able to see a little bit about what Dan was doing, a little bit of the defense. We missed the game before that against Washington or against Minnesota, so we'll go back to Minnesota too. These are typically members only, so the first part of it will probably be members only. The second part will open it up to gripes and hype, and that way we can do what we need to do. I might start doing film review on the other channel, so if you don't know where that is, pay attention to the post today. If you go onto the channel, everything is laid out now. Let me kind of show you what's going on here on the channel real quick, because I changed a few things. And if you're looking for information, if you want to know what we're doing, when we're doing it, or how it's going down, you have to pay attention to what's on the channel, because YouTube doesn't always notify everybody. We have a lot of people that have notifications turned on. The percentages are really high, but I still feel like we're not getting enough people into videos soon. How does a video flop with 1,000 views and then the next video does 21,000? That doesn't make any sense. So whether we're shadow banned or whatever, or it's the timing of when I'm releasing something, whatever, you should still get a notification. If you go in and check on your phone and you hit the notification bell, that'll tell you all the places that you're subscribed to and have notifications turned on of who put something out, right? That's the first place that I check. But if you go to the channel, which I'm trying to get this clear. Where is the clear? There it is. Let me turn the clear off. There we go. Had to clear the clear. All right, so if you go to the channel, you'll see now, well, what the hell? It was just there. Gotta love it. You gotta love it. My God. What is going on with these things? And, of course, it's all screwed up. All right, here you go. So if you go to the channel, you'll see now where it says that we're live. Right? So this will show you the most recent upcoming live stream. It'll tell you that. All right. It'll tell you when we are live. But I think I got rid of the upcoming, so you won't know when it's upcoming. You'll see when it's live. Just know it's around 8 a.m. every day. Upcoming may or not be there anymore. So you got live now, right? It says that we're live. Members tells you who our members are, which I think we're over 100 members now. Live now, again, it's redundant, but then you got videos, right? These are outlined for you. We got videos, popular videos. This should rotate to the most popular, the most watched, like the one that I did that nobody else has done anything like, the bombshell report on what happened after the Chiefs game. That's actually way over 100,000 views now. YouTube is usually about 15 to 20% behind, and as the video is live, it's 50% behind for 24 hours, just so you know that. So if it says 10,000 views, it's closer to 20. And then after 24 hours, it catches up. Then we have Detroit Lions videos, just video content only. And so this is all different types of the video content. And then you have videos and streams right here, videos and streams. This is everything that we're doing. as it's coming out in order. Today's show, how is this possible? Yesterday's morning show, Edge Depth. I don't know why Jared Goff trolling is not on top of that. It should actually be on top of that. Don't know why. And then you got the Rise and Grind morning show. So if you're just looking for Rise and Grind morning show stuff, it's all in order. And then you have multiple playlists. If you want the post-game shows, if you want the pre-game shows, if you want everything Rocked on Detroit Lions or everything Rise and Grind morning show, or if you want members content, it's all right there. And then you have just Rocked on Detroit Lions. This is kind of redundant, but anything that I do that's just Rocked on Detroit Lions that is also a video or also a live is in here. So post-game shows, pre-game shows, some video content, the Q&As, all that stuff is all in there. And then you have posts. Like I used to have the posts at top, and I probably should put it back at the top, but I really want video content at the top. So if you're looking for what's going on, like I posted 2 days ago that I'm bidding on some stuff for the cancer fund. I'm bidding on like $2,000 worth of stuff now. And these are items that go back to you guys, right? These are items that I buy that I'll spend $500 on a helmet or $200 on a Frank Ragnow letter or $300 on a football. And then we will turn around and do a raffle. And that's why the raffles take some time, because if we don't clear our budget, then we can't do the raffle. So when people make comments about my cancer foundation, just look at how many things I've given away. It's into the tune now of over $25,000 of giveaways in 2 seasons. Tell me another Lions channel that has done that. A measly $200. I'm glad it went to a cancer donation, but we've put out thousands because I don't need this channel for money. That's not what it's about. This channel's not about money to me. All the other channels I do, they are, right? But this one is not. And then below that is our partnership channels, which I don't know why it's not letting me go down any further. And these are channels that we partner with or watch. Green Light Podcast, All 22 Films partner, Paul Farrington partner. This is the other channel, Live Sports Now, where I'm going to start putting some more content. Pat McAfee, something I watch. Giant Goofballs partner. Our channel, Big Blue in the Bronx, partnered up. Vikings First and Skull, we watch and we've partnered with them. Cannon Fire Podcast, partner. And by partner, we're talking collaborations. Rich Eisen, we watch. So there you go. If you're looking for info, make sure you scroll down. Okay? That'll help you gain some knowledge as to what's going on with the channel. Not that you care, but I felt like I needed to put it out there. 30 people just dropped off because they don't care. It's all good. Or you know what you're doing. So thank you for indulging me on all that. All right, before I get out of here, any final questions, statements, comments? Raw Bees, is that to me, buddy? To grab a beer in a game? I don't drink, so I'll grab a soda pop if that's for me. I don't know where you are. Like, are you in Windsor or Ontario? Where are you at? Yeah, like, dude, I get over there. I mean, can't you come across the border? You know, I come 90, you come 10. I'm just kidding. I'll go to Windsor. Oh, Nova Scotia. Jeez. Well, you know what? Nova Scotia's on my list, man, because you get the Northern Lights over there. You get your lights over there. I want to go see him someday. Maureen, who are you saying? Who are you talking about? I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, you were chatting with Brian, I think. What'd Brian say? I don't know who Brian is, but let's see what he said. Brian Brady. Talking about getting an offensive coordinator. Hey, you know what, Brian? Do me a favor. Check out my article on DetroitFootballJournal.com about Hank Fraley. It's going to be a video today. And I think that you might have a little bit more appreciation for Hank Fraley and his experience and the way that I broke it down. If any of you in the comments right now have read that article, I think that you know what I'm talking about. Hank has got to be the clear number one right now, even though Scotty Montgomery has to be right there with him, like neck and neck. The reason why I like Hank better, you're going to find out in the video today. And that's probably until I finish my research on Scotty, which hopefully I'll have that done today too, and that'll come out tomorrow. But all right, y'all. You all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Wild West Wednesdays. We didn't do anything Wild West today other than just say it's Wild West, but we have some theme stuff that I'm trying to put together. Some theme music and some other things. I know some people don't like the background music. And yes, I realize that my date has been off because I had to record that video last night, this morning, and put the right date on it. And I never changed the damn date back. So let me do that real quick. Not that it's going to matter because that's come and gone. Can't do anything about it now. It is the 12th today. It is November 12th. So, all right, y'all take care, man. Go One Pride, go Detroit Lions. Appreciate all you guys. You are the best. You are the reason why I do what I do. I do it all for you. As a fan, from a fan, to a fan, we're all a fan. I'll see you in the next one. All right? Adios.